Sandra. Thank you for joining us. How are you today?
Thank you. Nice to be here. I'm really good. It's cold and nice outside, and yeah, it's nice to have a new year.
Yeah.
See what will happen.
Can you please introduce yourself?
My name is Sandra Stensen. I'm from Norway, and I've been a musician like my whole life. I think I started playing violin and piano, and then I started later on with guitar. So I think my whole life I've been doing music in some way.
Tell us about your musical career.
Yeah, I've been playing in different bands as a teenager home in Norway. And when I was 20, I moved to Sweden and have been playing in several different bands and projects as a guitarist, bass player, and vocalist until I started my own band, Delirium, which was my main band during my whole time here in Sweden. And I write the music and I play most of the instruments myself. And now today I am active in a Russian band called Festerguts, where I am the bass player. This is wonderful people I met on tour in Russia with other bands, and they are a band from Kaluga in Russia. They are extremely great and professional musicians, and when I was on tour they played their songs for me, and I was like, wow, this is really good. It was different kind of music that I do, because I normally don't like the orchestras and I don't play so much death metal, but I was like, wow, this is awesome. And they asked me if I wanted to play bass guitar with them, because they didn't have a bassist at that time. So I was like, wow, of course I want to do that. So since it's difficult to travel back and forth from Russia, you need visas and all these things.
Considering the current situation.
At the moment it's not even possible, yeah, that's for sure. But before these things happened, it was still difficult, but we did some festival gigs. It was really, really, really awesome. So that's something I really hope will be possible in the future, to do a tour with them, especially around in Europe and Asia.
You play in different bands. Do they also differ in genres?
Yeah, I will say these bands are basically, it's metal, I think you call it metal music, but it's everything from more primitive black metal, like my own band, Delirium. Festerguts is, you can call it maybe melodic death metal.
How come you ended up in this genre?
Yeah, I was pretty young when I experienced this thing you do as a teenager. You want to explore different kind of music, and I found the black metal. It totally stole my heart and my spirit. It was bands such as Vindir and Tåke, and I think you can understand when you listen to my music that I have had these bands as inspirations. And it started all with Metallica, I guess, when I was very young. And when I turned 14, I started, listening to black metal. I liked it, that they were screaming the lyrics, because the feelings it's all about feelings. When in the lyrics, you can't just sing it, you have to scream it, to show the emotions. And that was the emotions I had inside. And it was very, very, very nice for me to get it released by first listening to the music, and when that wasn't enough, I needed to be able to play it myself and create the music myself. And yeah, I think a lot of bands made me who I am today, but I always had it since I was very, very little, since I was a child. I always played my own music, even if it was on this little keyboard. And I wanted to release emotions, as it was hard for me to express during just talking to people. I needed to do it in a creative way with painting or music.
You have an incredible voice. How do you come up with the growl, and how did you discover it?
It's pure feelings. Yeah. So when I first listened to these bands that I loved so much, I think I got so into the emotions, and when I learned the lyrics and everything, I started to, go to concerts, and I started to scream the lyrics myself, and then it just came naturally. I knew how to do it. I was listening to it. It was natural. So with my music, it wasn't something I had to think about or like decide whether or not to have growl or screams or clean vocals. It was natural, and so certain vocal lines has to be just screamed out loud. And I like these different kind of styles. For example, the more, the witch kind of whisperings and light screams. It depends on what song you have, what it's all about, how the music is written. So I guess it's just natural. I have never thought about any techniques or something. That's something I don't understand.
Right.
I think being on stage, there is so much adrenaline, even though you're never nervous or anything. It's just that it's adrenaline and everything comes natural. But it's the things after the concerts, what happens after when it's so loud. There's other bands playing and it's loud music and people want to talk to you, you scream, you use your voice uncontrolled. On stage, I would say it's more controlled because you know what you're about to do. You know your songs, you know the lyrics, you know how you will perform. So that doesn't really affect me. It's more everything which happened afterwards. So maybe the next day, if I have been like talking to people and screaming to them because of loud noise, then I may lose my voice. And then maybe the next day it will sound different and more sore kind of. But I would say when you're on stage, it just comes back. It's not really a problem, I would say.
Have you experienced any downsides or maybe advantages being a woman in extreme metal?
Well, when it comes to being a woman, it's of course very different than being a man because it's more rare. And this is something I think is very unfair in many ways, and in both positive and negative ways, because when you're a woman you get so much attention just for being a woman. And it's negative, of course. Sometimes people are being they try to compare you to other women and other men, but that's on one side, but on the other side they are giving you so much credit for maybe just being a woman, maybe not the credits because you are talented. So I think it's different to say. I have experienced both positive and negative things. I think that also for my bands it has been a positive thing. We have gotten more attention, but that's something I don't necessarily like. I don't like the thought that you choose to have a band at your festival because there are female fronters or there are a female, good-looking female in the band. That's for me the worst thing I know. It should be because that specific person is the most talented. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman.
When you write lyrics, what is your inspiration?
My biggest inspiration is my crazy mind, my dreams, even nightmares, but also things that I have experienced. A lot is about the unknown, when you experience supernatural events, all these things, and also things you read about, you hear about. So it can be a lot about the occult, of course, but also a lot of space, even quantum physics. So I think it's more the things we don't know and what is scary. But sadly, one of my biggest inspirations is also my hatred. I have a huge hatred towards humanity and what we do, how humans behave, what we're doing to the animals, the planet. And my hatred is something which is really difficult for me to handle because I have to keep it inside. But when I do the music and I write lyrics, and also when I scream the lyrics, I can get the hatred out. And in that way is the only way I can really control my hatred. And it's also a lot of sorrow, of course, but the anger, it comes from the humanity, the planet, what we do. So it's a different mix, but also it's important to have like different lyrics for different bands. Maybe my own band should be in one direction when another band want to go in more to another direction. So, I mean, when it comes to my own band, it's very easy because it's up to me. I decide, and the band is created out of this. So we kind of agree with that. But in other bands, you have to, of course, also be aware that people sometimes have other thoughts. You can't always say what you think. You have to find something which everyone has in common that someone can stand for. But with myself, I can always stand for what is in my band. But if I'm a member in another band, maybe they write about things I don't really stand for. But that's something I have to take the decision. Do I want to be a part of this, or do I want to leave it just because I don't stand for everything they want to write about? But that's also why I think it's good to have my own band, so that I can keep that to everything which is my opinions, and then in other bands I can be a team member.
Have you been involved with occultism?
When we were teenagers back in Norway, we were trying to explore. We were more in the stage that we tried to understand what it was all about, but we kind of created our own thoughts about it all. I mean, there is no such occult circle, what do you call it, that you can join and you feel like, oh, this is something I want to have anything to do with. But it's more like you create something on your own, and you feel, or I feel, that it's easier when I have like inspiration from certain maybe occult books or something, and then I can try and create something new, which is my own.
How do you look upon religion?
I detest all religions. I am strongly against it. As we all know, war is very much based upon religions. People cannot accept each other. You have all these religions who actually say it out loud that everyone who has a different religion than me, they should just be killed. And there you have the answer. What good does religion do? I mean, there can be positive things as well. I mean, for certain people, they need something to believe in, like, why are we here? What's my purpose of life? And to some extent, I can be a bit jealous at some people who they lose their children and they just say, oh, it doesn't matter, it was God's will. So, and if it would happen to me, I would totally break down and my life will end. So, I mean, of course, they can be good for some people to have something, but in general, for the planet, for the humanity, I think it's a very bad thing. It creates just conflicts and wars, and it's a bad thing, which I think that it should be illegal, like it is in certain places, such as North Korea. It's actually illegal. I think that's a wise thing to do, to try and create some peace on this planet.
Norway is quite a religious country. Has that affected you when growing up there?
A bit. I mean, I'm baptized. I'm, like you mentioned, I'm from Norway, and it's a Christian country, or it was. When I grew up, we had to learn about the Bible all the time. Every day we had to read in the Bible, we had to sing from the Bible, and we were going to church all the time, and I was even singing in the church on weekends sometimes. And I think that first, when you are a child, you don't learn the worst things. So it's more like child-friendly kind of. So I think I was okay with it at that time. I didn't understand it was a bad thing until I started to be a teenager and read more. I wanted to read the whole Bible, and then I was thinking, oh, this is really bad. And I was shocked. Like, what is this? Is this actually for real? And then I started to study other religions just to be able to understand what this was all about. And I just saw worse and worse in all religions. So when I started to tell people that I was an antichrist, that I was against the church, that I wanted to go out from the church, some people were directly saying, oh, you're a Satanist. And I was thinking, no, to be an antichrist or just anti-religious, it has nothing to do with being something else. It's more like believing in yourself, believing in science. And of course some people becomes really angry, but especially when it comes to other religions. I think in Norway it's more I think you're more accepted if you just say you don't like Christianity. But if you talk bad about other religions, then you will get the problem, because people will start to give you problems, and maybe you will be fired from your workplace and stuff. And I think you should be careful with what you say. But I think also it's important to also explain to people that I'm not against you or your religion. Specifically, it's everything. It's all religions.
Have you received any kind of resistance, threats, or comments regarding your music or expression?
Not so much. I would say there is always haters, and there is always those who loves you and see you as a god. There will always be everything in between as well. So I think there has been some comments maybe online, but personally have been very lucky with my own music, because I always received so positive response. I think also that those people who doesn't like this style, this music, they don't care, they don't come to me. So no, I think it has been very positive, and I have been very surprised, because when I lived in Norway, doing this music wasn't actually okay. People didn't like me because they thought, oh, she's dangerous. There's something wrong with her because she's listening to these bands and she's dressing with Metallica t-shirt. Then she must be a very, very bad person and going to work. And they were like afraid of you, thinking you were doing drugs and all these things. But here in Sweden, it's more open, and I think everything has been positive the whole time I've been doing metal music in general.
You are a member of many bands. What are your plans right now?
Since the corona pandemic, we have had everything on hold, which has been very nice. But yeah, to have a break from this. But I think it's going to be very nice to start touring again and being able to be on stage and work more with the music. And I think everything can happen in 2023. There is the world is changing, but I think there's more options now than it was the previous 2 years, when it was more staying at home and the flights were cancelled all the time. I think now we will finally be able to start touring again. Music has now been difficult, and I think many bands, they are living on what they get from playing festivals and doing tours. And during the pandemic, that has been very, very difficult. And me and the bands I work with, we have decided just to not do anything, because that's the right thing to do when you don't want to, you want to try to stop the pandemic as well. So it's better to just wait until things get better. But still, we do it as a hobby. I think everyone I work with music have different jobs and has different professionals. So I think that music is for all of us more a side job, a hobby. So we do it for fun, and sometimes we earn great money, sometimes we don't earn anything. It depends.
Who is Sandra when you're not playing music?
Yes. Then I am with my home, with my animals. I take care of animals who has been abandoned or being sick, and that's what I love the most. Stay with my animals, be in the nature, go around in the mountains, having fresh air, especially in Norway, instead of staying in the city.
Do you have any final thoughts or words?
I would just thank you for all the great support I have experienced ever since I became an artist. I had so great support from all around the world, and everyone has been so supportive whatever I've been going through, and I'm very, very thankful for that. And I hope that everyone will enjoy a new year and probably being able to enjoy more music.
Thank you so much, Sandra. It was great having you, and good luck with your musical career.
Thank you.
to find a better place. We'll do this,